Hi, this is Simone Bianchi, and you're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Hello everybody, my name is Ian Taylor and welcome to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, brought to you by the Marvel Cards Fan Collective, an awesome community of card collectors and creators. You can find our two groups on Facebook, details of which are at the end of this podcast, so come check us out. With me as always is my co-pilot in all things Marvel cards. And you know what time it is when the door bursts open and he's standing there head to toe in tinfoil and shouts, "It's Norrin time, baby. It's Norrin Rad."
You're absolutely right, and I do that. Hello, everybody. How are you? Happy to be here. Yeah. So excited for today.
Did you just say happy? You almost said happy to see you to our audience.
I am, because I see you, and I just imagine the rest of the crowd and the rest of the audience.
That's okay. They're all standing behind me. They're all standing behind me.
That's acting.
I'm a little bit giddy. I won't lie to you. So we're just going to get straight into it. With us this week is a very, very special guest. I'm not gonna say anything else. Who are you, sir?
I'm not sure.
And
I'm 48, and still I'm not 100% sure how to answer this question. Okay. But somebody told me my name is Simone Bianchi, which in the U.S. Often is being mispronounced as Simon or Simone Bianchi, whatever. I mean, It makes no difference. It's still me. That guy who painted the Marvel Masterpieces 2018.
Yes, and you did a superb job of it, sir.
An amazing job.
Can I just start off by saying, I don't know if anyone's actually said this to you, because I'm sure you've had lots of people say that they've enjoyed the set, and lots of people give you feedback on it and say what they like, and you've talked about it, I'm sure, loads over the last 2 years. But can I just say thank you for doing it?
100%.
Thank you for buying it and for collecting it.
Oh, and then some. It's a beast. That's half of it. That's half of it. Yeah, that's It's a big old puppy. And I need to. Oh dear, it's all falling over. Sorry, JoJo's set just fell over, but I'll pick it up afterwards. Simone, thank you for making time. You're busy at the moment with an exhibition, and I've just been looking through the photos of it, and I'm kind of blown away by what I've seen. So tell us about, is it called Amazing Talent?
Yeah. Yes. My sister Gloria, who she's also here with me.
Hi, everybody.
Say hi.
Gloria.
I can talk about the exhibition and about the pieces which are hanging at the exhibition, but Gloria, she can talk more specifically about what went into the organization and the setting up of the exhibition itself, which took a long time for me to paint the paintings, and for her and Ricardo, our curator, the curator, artistic director of the exhibition, to put the whole thing together. So, as I was saying, I wanted to have some brand new paintings done and painted specifically for the exhibition. So throughout the summer, but I want to say starting mid-spring, I start to pencil and paint. I don't know, quanti pezzi, Gloria? About 12 pieces.
Wow.
14 pieces, which, by the way, you guys haven't seen at all, because purposely, me and Gloria, we decided not to post anything at all, even on our socials, or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or that kind of, Can I swear?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Please.
Okay.
Express yourself.
All those stupid bullshit social, which I can't stand myself, but they're so good for our work that we need to keep updated and stuff. I mean, the only good thing is that I'm talking about the socials now, is that the socials are giving me and Gloria the chance to stay in touch with people like you guys, Medi Tullio, William, Otis, a lot of friends who are living on the other side of the ocean, and we would not have the same chance to talk to them as much as we could now with the socials. But that's about it. I mean, I'm not a big fan, but again, for our work, it's crucial, and we need to do, and we do our best to keep them as updated as possible. So getting back on the exhibition, me and Gloria, we decided together with our friend Ricardo, the director of the exhibition, not to show anything at all, because we actually wanted people to have a first live impressions of those 12 paintings the way an art exhibition is supposed to be, you walk into the exhibition and you're supposed to see something for the very first time, wow. Which in our social era, in our social time, it's something pretty unusual, exactly. And we wanted people to have a first feeling of what I painted throughout the summer in person. So that being said, soon as the exhibition will be over, which is October the 25th, we will start posting those paintings, okay, on our social, so you guys hopefully can enjoy them and leave some shitty comments underneath them.
Well, funny enough, there was this amazing draft you were doing, this preliminary art of Spider-Man, and I think it was for the exhibit, and he had, and I didn't realize this at a time like an idiot, but it was based off the study of man, Leonardo da Vinci, and it was right.
I was at the Vitruvian, man.
Yes. I was an idiot. I remember on the comment you were asking, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And I was like, "Oh, it works so cool for the spider signal. It really matches." And I'm like, "Oh my God, it was the study of man. How did I not recognize it?"
First, I'm glad you brought it up, because there's a funny story about that drawing that you're talking about. So first of all, it's not a drawing at all. As for me, as an artist, drawing means pencil and paper. So the piece we're talking about is just 100%. It's been made 100% on my iPad, which I'm not supposed to say because Apple is not paying me not even a dime, and I don't want to sponsorship those anyhow. So let's say it's a digital creation 100%. But the funny thing is that the idea behind that drawing, that digital drawing, is that at the beginning of the summer I went to come si dice, non parco giochi, com'è il Cavaliere Matto? Come si può definire? It's kind of a Luna Park, like a theme park with my family. Mm-hmm. It's close to us on the shore. And during the day, right after the lunch, we all went to see this show with a contortionist. Okay, I don't know if that's the right word.
Yes.
One of these girls who are able to actually distort their body to the point where this girl, she had her feet in front of her shoulder, okay, and I was sitting right in front of this girl with my two kids and my wife, and soon as I saw that pose, that movement, I decided I absolutely need to do something like this with a Spider-Man piece. Okay, so flash forward to a couple of months later, at the end of my series of painting, there was one painting that I realized I didn't do yet for the exhibition, which was a nice Spider-Man. And I wanted to do in a circle, canvas mounted on a circle, okay? Because it was a nice quotation of the Tondodoni, the Michelangelo Tondodoni. The classic
yes.
Tondodoni in the Uffizi Museum. So I was shooting for a couple of different poses when this memory came back to my mind. But the thing that, Fausto, the thing is that I was genuinely asking, is there anything wrong you guys can point out, because I can figure it out? And I actually draw the feet upside down, so it looked completely crap, and I didn't understand why. And I need some nice folk to help me. See, that's when socials are really useful.
Right.
Yeah, I loved it.
The question was, is it readable? Is it understandable?
Yes, exactly.
And people, in a very, I must say, in a very quiet way,
polite,
say, no, not really. And so that helped him figuring out why something was weird.
Because like 4 or 5 different guys, even people who I know personally, they were really politely trying to tell me, hey, Simone, there's something wrong with the feet because they should look like the opposite. And I swear to God, being not humble at all as I am, I was saying to myself, this is it's bullshit. I mean, that's not the answer I'm looking for. Then at the end of that day, I was working on another piece. I switch off my iPad. Once again, I mean, so it's twice already that I mentioned iPad. So I switching off reading the comments, I read another comment saying, of course, I mean, and naturally, the very same thing. The feet should be exactly like flip upside down, and I realized abruptly that they were all right and I was wrong. So I flipped the feet, and as a matter of fact, now the whole painting, the whole drawing, digital drawing, looks much better. And then I added all those other arms and legs, which make him look like a Vitruvian man from Leonardo from the Renaissance. So I'm glad you brought it up, because I mean, it's a nice story, and he taught me that sometimes you have to be humble enough to, especially if you're asking for advice, to like to realize that even the last of the fan from the other side of the world can like immediately realize something that you stupidly you didn't realize in the first place.
No, it was so awesome to see you post that. It was so much fun because you've been posting, you guys are, even though social media is garbage, like we said, you both are so brilliant at everything you do for us and how kind you are and all the time you spent with us and the things you share. And it was just another example of something really awesome you both do for us as collectors and art collectors and all this stuff. It was really cool. And your process, and this is just bringing it to, a little bit to another question just to hear about. And you've mentioned this before, so I hate to make you repeat it. You don't have to. But, this process of going from the thumbnail to the prelim to the final, those stages, it's something that's highlighted in the set. And it's something that I am a huge fan of, as poor Gloria knows, as I bother her all the time about how much I enjoy the process. Could you just give us a little bit of, that process, how you did it in terms of going from the thumbnail to the prelim to the final, and what are some of the things you enjoy about it or why you do?
You're asking me about the Marvel masterpiece particularly, or generally speaking, how
I'm happy with both, personally. But
I guess
masterpieces would be more for the show. But I'm happy with both.
Yeah. I mean, it's a slightly different answer as when I start working on the Marvel masterpieces. Honest to God, I really was not 100% aware what I was going through, what I was going towards to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the first thing that I really was forced to do was to realize how long each piece is going to take me for be done and finished with, because I had a straight deadline, and I've been taught that the first thing that you have to be able to work in the business, in the comic business, in the cards business, it's to be able to hit your deadline, meet your deadline, be reliable. So actually, the very first thing that I did, I painted the Venom. The Venom that you guys can find, and it was not really. It was pretty much, I don't know, quanto era grande in inches. Te lo dico. It was, Gloria, she's gonna tell us the exact size, but it was not that big. I used 3 different sizes for the cards. So so the first one, the Venom.
10 by 13 inches.
Yes, it was 10 by 13 inches, so slightly smaller than a usual Marvel or DC cover artwork. And so I painted that piece as the very first one, exactly that piece, trying to realize how long would have taken me to accomplish one piece. And I did that in 10 hours.
Wow.
10 hours. Yeah, so I was just
10 hours.
10 hours.
So I was really going, I was really speeding up as much as I could. And so after that, I start to sketch. I start to sketch off all the cards that you guys can find in the set. I did those thumbnails that you guys have seen on your group, on social media, all in one time, through 4 to 5 days. Hold it 125 pieces first, then the last 10 pieces I drew them later on. When I was done with those thumbnail, lui c'ha qualcosa, Fausto. When I was done with those thumbnails, I moved on doing some tight penciling for some. Yes, I mean, you're supposed to have something like that, right, Fausto? The thumbnail, which yes, you got the Colossus, Psylocke, and I don't remember the last character on the right. Oh, and Archangel.
Yeah,
exactly.
Beautiful Archangel.
So, okay, this thumbnail Fausto is holding right now are the one I'm talking about. Very, very small. That's the reason why we call it thumbnail. And I did those 125 again in through 4 to 5 days. Then I start tidying a lot of those drawing on a much bigger scale. Yes, like this one you're holding now, which is Mephisto, right?
Mephisto, yeah.
Mephisto. Once I'm done with this, but again, I want to be clear. There's some pencils like Mephisto, which is halfway detail or refined, but then we still do have some pencil like Archangel, Final Pencil, Black Panther, Captain America, both. I mean, if you guys have been nice enough to board our Marvel Masterpiece hardcover, you can see some of these drawing, some of these pencils I'm talking about at the beginning of the book.
Sandman, Vulture.
Poi chi c'era? Goblin, Hawkeye, exactly, Elektra, Thor, Yeah, yes, and then, but this one, Ian, you're holding right now. These are thumbnails. Yet thumbnails. The other one Fausto was showing was the more detailed pencil. Yes, I was talking about, and but I want to be clear about this because I'm fast, but not flash fast. So yeah. I didn't do those kind of very detailed pencils for all the whole set. I did those pencils just for about quanti saranno state, Gloria? I don't know.
35,
40 pieces, images from the set. Then when I was done with the pencil, I was actually tracing them with the light box, or actually having some of my assistant doing this, because it's pretty, I mean, it's a pretty colossal pain in the ass to be really precise, on the light box. So, and once we had the final clean pencil, only by then I would have started painting the final one with colors, which, as you guys are supposed to know by now, and surely know by now, it's like 90% acrylics and 10% is this color pencil I'm having right in front of me right now.
Wow.
So yeah, so but another thing that you guys never seen, but if you want me to, little by little, me and Gloria, we can start posting something. I also do have some digital coloring proof that I did prior to go on the final with acrylics and on the, like the real thing, the real painting.
Wow.
And I always, I mean, I'm serious now. Every time I see this kind of color rough that I do have on my device, on my, on my tablet device, which brand I now don't remember at all. Every time I see them, I tend to repeat to myself, we should post this, because I know how much fun could be to see what lies, behind what the final image you actually hold in your hand, how much work there is behind that final image. And so this is pretty much, to answer your question, Fausto, my usual process. And then the end of the process, of course, is Gloria trying to sell everything I did. No. I'm kidding.
Just a couple of things. Not all the pieces were subject to the same process. Like for some pieces, there was a much longer, more detailed work, and other were just much faster to accomplish. There is just thumbnails and fully painted piece. Mm-hmm. Others needed
more stages.
Yeah, more stages.
More steps.
Yeah, because there's actually a really cool thing that our friend has, who's a Doctor Strange collector, and it was a prelim of Doctor Strange fighting Planet Hulk, I think it is.
Yeah.
Sure. And there's a prelim for that was given out by Upper Deck, and it has markers on it, and it's not the direct prelim, so it's one of those extra stages, right, where it has like a marker around the border, like the Hellcat also has that marker space too, right? Which, by the way, that Hellcat, and this does bring me my second question, but I don't want to jump into it too fast, but I love that negative space in Hellcat, like where you have that white.
Yes, I tend to use those negative space a lot because since I consider my work to be really busy from from an illustration point of view, there are a lot of paintbrushes, signs, a lot of stuff going on. It tends to be really busy. I said to myself that I definitely needed some space where the eyes could rest, and makes a nice balance between what is extremely detailed and finish, and some empty silence, some empty spaces.
Yeah, you did that with the dagger too, which was beautiful too. Like with the skull and that space on top, gorgeous.
Yeah, but sure I did with some other cards from the set, which I don't recall right now. But I'm doing that a lot with my regular comic book covers as well.
Yes.
Oh, okay. One of the pieces you guys haven't seen it yet because it's one of the pieces that I did on purpose for the exhibition. I did a Star Wars piece, which is featuring only Darth Vader, Darth Maul and Kylo Ren. So the Sith, okay?
Oh.
Yeah, all the three of them
on canvas, and it's complete. I mean, it's extremely detailed and very rich on the inside, but all over the central composition of the three figures, the main figures, is just canvas, white, painted over the canvas, just absolutely silence, eyes rest.
That's beautiful. I love that. And yeah, there's just this beautiful balance you've done, in all of your work, obviously, but, masterpieces too. The other thing I was going to point out, and, we had that live feed where you came onto the group and spoke to us, and everyone kind of stopped their work and jumped on to hear you guys talking about the set. And there was this thing I brought up, and I'm dying to talk about it, and selfishly I'm going to do it. And I'm sorry, Ian. But the thing I was going to bring up was what I love so much about your work is not only the art itself, but the storytelling. And I think what you did in Masterpieces that I hadn't seen before really was that you created settings completely dystopian, futuristic. Like there's all these really beautiful building architectures, the rock structures, like looking at Mystique, right? Mystique is sitting on this really cool deserty kind of like water reserve and this machine thing in the desert. She looks like a chameleon. Like it's just really cool how you did that storytelling. I just wanted to know more about, how you landed on that story. How did you made it so uniform too in this really cool way?
Okay, that's a very good question. Just sticking on the Mystique piece, what you call water reserve, which is pretty accurate. It's actually an homage that I did to one of my all-time favorite artists, not just comic book artists, but artists, which is Moebius. However, whatever you want to call it, I mean, which is one of the few pure genius who dedicated his whole life to the comic book medium, but who could easily be one of the master, like painter or illustrator master of the entire past century and beginning of this too. And so a lot of those backgrounds you were referring to are a direct homage to his genius. Absolutely. And that's some awesome. The Deadpool, just to give you another example. The Deadpool background, you can see it's an homage to my own city, to Lucca. So you can see these kind of trees on some kind of, yes, exactly, trees on this kind of very rusty old medieval arcs and walls. It's just an homage, a non-realistic homage to our own walls. We really are surrounded by medieval walls in the city where we live. And so that background is an homage to that. You also do have throughout the set some other more regular, ordinary urban backgrounds, like the Punisher, or you have one of the one of the two Spider-Man. It does have a regular urban Hawkeye too. Yes. a Hellcat too, despite the use of negative space, she does have like a regular night view urban background. So what I try to do, as you said, Dagger, she's standing upon this gigantic skull. If you ask me who skull is, I don't have a clue. I mean, it's just some kind of fantasy gigantic skull. It's coming from some other world. I don't know. But it was just basically me trying to have fun, to do, to reach a point where I can use any kind of background, but make it somehow, come si può dire anche in italiano, organic.
Organic,
organic and believable with the rest of all the other backgrounds.
And
I noticed
coherent. Yeah, that's thank you, Gloria. Gloria, she speaks a much better English than I do, of course. With
you guys are both great.
More British accent, and it's to give a coherence throughout the whole card sets, which I don't know if I succeed, but
100%. No, you really. I mean, you guys know more about me personally, than the group knows, because I've spoken to you both, and you're so wonderful to spend your time with me.
That's because you never met us in person.
I would love to meet you both.
Your idea.
I'm sure. No, but there's a strong sense of storytelling in this set, which is why it's my favorite set to come out, because there is such an emphasis on not trying to be a part of a world that already exists with Marvel characters, but like you've said in other interviews with your Marvel characters, how you feel like they're just, the myths of today, and they are like the heroes, folklore and all that kind of really amazing work. And, that's a great parallel, 100%, because they are so widespread, right? So many different cultures know them, so many different cultures place particular attributes on them. But the storytelling comes through, and I think what was the best part is you didn't try to match a story already told. And you work on comic books, you're a storyteller naturally, your sequential art, you know everything about this. But in the cards you did that. I felt like I saw a narrative, especially narratives between characters, like where some you all put in the city. You can see all those characters in that same city, right? I can see Hellcat and Punisher, you know what I mean? Or if like they're in this desert with a machine, like I can see Deathlock and Mystique in similar, right, electronic technology type of stuff. Yeah, I think it for me 100% came through. Yeah, absolutely. Now Ian's going to kill me because I've monopolized.
No, not at all. All I was going to say was it really reminds me of I think this was a DC thing where they used to do something called Elseworlds, where it was alternative kind of realities and different things.
DC,
and so the one thing what I love about the book is the way you've grouped it, like Defenders. Shout out for Defenders, don't get enough love, just generally, and the fact that you've given them a spotlight within your book, I mean, is marvelous, especially the Luke Cage, which is just terrific. But the fact that they kind of there's a couple of different worlds that I've kind of noticed throughout the threads, and they're all beautifully done. One thing I did notice was how many that you mentioned a skull that Dagger's standing on. There's actually quite a lot of skulls in this.
Yes, I mean, yes, I absolutely
and they're
do
fun.
I absolutely do love painting skulls.
Yeah,
and it's just it's a primitive shape. You know what I'm saying?
It's organic.
Yes.
It's very organic,
and it tends to give any characters who are interacting with skulls somehow a more organic feel. And I don't know where it comes from. Maybe, I guess, being a colossal huge fan of H.R. Giger or Geiger, whatever you want to call his second name work, I think that where it comes from, my love for skulls, bones, like all those biomechanical.
That's it.
I mean, that's one of the true incredible invention art-wise from the last century. And I do think that H.R. Giger didn't and still it's not recognized as the incredible master who has been. And it's a weird process, and I think it's more of a market process than of a, like inner value of his work, because it's been one of the few first artists who actually got in start working with galleries first, and then he moved to cinema. And back then in the 70s, believe it or not, I mean, the mentality within the gallery community was really, really strict and somehow short. And so when the gallery world saw him moving into the cinema gigs, they start to think of him like a sellout, and he was the first one who was clear about this, and he said that soon then he won the Oscar for the first Alien, the first Ridley Scott Alien. The gallery stopped to exhibit his work. And I still do believe that, especially in Switzerland, it's from Switzerland, and I do believe that one of the main reasons why he doesn't have his rightful spot in the history of art from last century, it's due to this, gallery mentality versus cinema commercial world, which was really stupidly conflictual back then in the 70s. Oh, I'm sorry. I just let myself go, but I mean, I'm
please. No. Well, I mean, you are a natural bridge too, though, because you are a natural bridge as well, right? I mean, you're rich.
That's exactly what we are trying to do, both me and Gloria, of course. But I have to say that we've been lucky, because Gloria started to work with me about 15 years ago, right? Pretty much. More than that?
12 years. Well, let's say 15.
Let's say something between 15 and 20 years ago, okay? She had a previous different job, and we started working together. And what we're trying to do these days is, of course, trying to approach these two different words, come si dice? Non so neanche come dire in italiano, di avvicinarli.
Basically, our aim is to try and take the work he's been doing in the comic industry and bring it outside only the comic art community
into the fine art community.
The fine art.
Wow.
But the lucky thing is right now the limit between between comic art and art is getting
thinner,
blurry.
So,
exactly. So gallery owners and art collectors are trying to look at comic art and say, maybe our words are not so different, far away from each other.
But especially what we are witnessing is that like the fine art collectors are not seeing our work the way they used to see H.R. Giger works. Like, it's commercial, it's for kids, it's not real art, if you know what I mean. And they start to give us like the credit that I think we deserve. It's a long process, and it will take time, but I mean, we definitely put all of our energies into this. And the exhibition we've been doing, and we start talk about with Ian at the beginning of the recording, it is going exactly towards this direction. Like, as if you have the chance, which unfortunately you guys will not have the chance to see the exhibition, because of this pandemic time we're living in. If you walk into the first room, which is the biggest room of the entire exhibition, and when I mean big, I mean really big. I don't know
Like there's a fireplace that is as high as roof. I mean, it's a lot of people.
Yeah, just the fireplace, it's like twice as tall as me. I'm not kidding. It's just colossal. It's one of those Renaissance palace from the...
And it's the noble floor. So the first floor of this palazzo, of this palace.
Wow.
And the spaces are enormous. And it's 12 different rooms. So the whole noble floor of the palazzo is for the exhibit. And when this exhibit was proposed to Simone and to us, the idea behind this is just we want people to see the art in the right context. So because until a few years ago, you could only see like traditional paintings hanging in such an environment. And even before Simone, they always made exhibits of more mature artists. So it's the first time an artist doing mainly superheroes is hosted in this kind of environment of palazzo.
Yeah, and as I was saying, the very first trying to go into this direction, the very first room, if you would walk in, you walk into this very large, really huge first room, and the whole room is filled up with pieces of mine which have a direct link to the world of traditional fine art, whether it's like ancient art from Renaissance to modern and contemporary art. So you could see like a piece with an homage with I don't know the English name, Naufragio della Speranza, which is
the hopes.
No, it's a different word. The painter is Caspar von Friedrich, and it's a German painter from the beginning of the 20th century, from into the Arctic. A lot of pieces of ice. It's a very famous. I don't remember the English name of the painting. I will find out. But anyhow, this Thanos piece is a direct homage to that painting. That you do have another painting with Batman, Catwoman, and
Poison Ivy. Is that right?
Poison Ivy. Yeah. And it's that the recreation of Michelangelo from the 16th century in Rome.
Right.
And then you do have some other pieces which much more recent artwork quotation, like you do have a piece where you have Logan jumping up in the sky, and it's a never seen before painting, this one I'm talking about, and it's slicing up these spheres, which are sculptures from Arnaldo Pomodoro, which was a very famous Italian sculptor from last century. And these spheres he used to sculpt in bronze. They were kind of a mix between high-tech and cracked surface. It's beautiful. And so I homage his work with Wolverine actually lay down the water like Ophelia in the pre-Raphaelite painting.
I saw that one. That's gorgeous.
And all these paintings I'm talking about, and of course I'm leaving out some, they're all in the first room, and they're being gathered together just to give the people walking into the exhibition this sense or this intention of making these two words as close as possible.
Yeah, well,
even
they're
though
overlapping
up until a few years ago, they're related one to another. I hope and I think.
Well,
absolutely.
I can't wait to see. I mean, you've said that obviously it's designed in a way that you walk through and you experience it in this vast palace. And there are 15 pictures on your blog, which we'll put in the we'll pop in the
checking the right title in English. So
okay.
No worries.
We'll pop those we'll pop a link to that. Hopefully that'll stay on your site after the exhibition is gone, but we'll pop a link to that on our show notes so that people can have a look at it. And one of the images on that is obviously it's an aerial view of the entire palace, which just looks phenomenal.
It looks so amazing.
How far is that away from where you guys are in Lucca?
Be this way. When the exhibit was proposed to us, we knew the curator and the artistic director, so it would perfectly done with all the possible care and with all the abilities to do a very good job. But seeing the palazzo, the first time we saw the palazzo without the pieces, we were astonished by the beauty and the really. You should see it. But then when we came back before the opening and saw the old setting, it's because the curator of the exhibit worked months and months. Riccardo Corbò. He studied Simone's work, but also he has known Simone for like 25 years. So he has followed his work and he knew what he wanted to put together. Right. So every room it has a subject. And in that subject, you have a lot of texts too. Like he made an interview lasting 7 hours. Simone and him, they spent a weekend together and he recorded 7 hours of dialogues. Of questions and answers on the different Marvel characters, on his approach, on his ideas, and he made it sum up. Most important thing. So he said, after the exhibit, a person must go out with a feeling he has understood what you do, what you have done, quite a bit. So It's a very honest exhibit. And very complete exhibit.
Era più semplice. Yeah. Si chiama The Sea of Eyes.
The Sea of Eyes is the English.
The Sea of Eyes.
Yeah. The Sea of Eyes. Caspar von Friedrich.
So Gloria was just explaining to us this 7 hours of conversation you had with.
More than it was actually eight and a half hours.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
It just sounds. Not that because I know you've done exhibitions.
Boring?
No. It sounds very personal. It sounds very personal to you. This exhibition. More. I mean, I know you've done exhibitions before, and I'm sure every one of them is personal in different ways. But this one just sounds much more. Passionate is the word that's coming through from what you're saying. So
what we were told at first by Riccardo Corbò, the curator, was, I don't care about getting some pieces of yours and hanging them on a wall. That's not what I want to do. I want to make like a real trip into what you have done over the last 10 years and give a new perception of it. During this interview and after this interview, my brother was forced to ask himself questions he had never asked himself.
Wow.
I think it was really helpful for actually not only me, but for both of us, me and Gloria, to better understand our direction and what we really want to do a few years with my artwork and with her management of my artwork. So what we want to do together with what we're doing. And those kind of questions that I was forced to ask myself, she was forced to ask herself as well, had been somehow challenging, but very, very helpful to clear our own vision of my artwork and what it's supposed
because
to make to do another.
When things go right, you don't really ask yourself what you want to change, where you want to improve. I mean, it's everything is going right.
Smooth.
There are good proposals. You say yes. The artwork, I mean, has a good audience good response, but then you're forced to, I mean, these questions were very direct and were very, there was no way out. So you have to
you had to reassess where you were, what you wanted for the future, what was the big hope and push to the work and all that.
Do you want Simone's work to just be, oh, it's a beautiful painting, it is published, it gets sold, and that's it? Or you want to get to another level? So it doesn't matter. I mean, what has been important until now is important, but it's not just like your next goal. And your next goal, well, one of the goals we have right now is to have people like see the brushes in person as much as possible.
Brush strokes.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm with you.
So
I'm with you.
see the art in person and like I can make this example to you and to some other guys who probably will be listening and understand. A good thing about my job is when I ship art to a collector, I very often get an email back saying, oh, the piece looks even better than in person. There is something I had not perceived in a scan. So this feeling we would like to
be sure
to share and to give to as many people as possible through exhibits, and that this is why we put so much effort in this exhibition.
So that I mean, jokes aside, what we're trying to do right now is to have an exhibition like this next in Italy, maybe in a couple of years, in Rome or Milan or Florence, one of the big art city here. But we're looking into do something like this in the States too, or in London. Of course, it would be phenomenal. So I mean, but it's a long process. So we need to find the right gallery, the right curator to, like to handle the artwork and to present, to showcase the artwork the way they did in the Palazzo Vitelli, where we're having the exhibition right now.
That's amazing. Just because
so great.
just because I'm thinking of it, that all that audio, it sounds like therapy. Sounds brilliant. Do you plan? Obviously, that's done as part of the exhibition that's currently on. Will that exhibition stop and never be remounted as that anywhere else, and then you'll do something else, or will that audio or elements from that make it out into
That's a good question. The thing is, just consider that I think 60% of the pieces are owned by private collectors.
More than 70-80%.
And a very big effort that the organizers, Tiferno Comics, have made is to collect the pieces. And they physically drove to the different collectors' houses throughout Italy to collect the pieces, not having them shipped.
And when she said throughout Italy, it's literally
from north to
up
Sicily.
north to Sicily.
That's so cool. Wow.
So, this is why I say everything was really taken care in a way that is very rare to find, because when you have a curator who really has such a clear idea on what he wants. But when I say clear idea, I mean that we sometimes had an opinion and he had a different one, and we discussed this idea, and in the end we had to say he was right. So we had that in mind.
It sounds like most marriages.
And an organization who really is able to take care of everything. So it's difficult to find the right word, but really with great care, it's not that common. I mean, it's not that common. No.
But also, I mean, now that I understand, unfortunately, I'm not the smartest, the most I'm not the most knowledgeable on gallery architecture and gallery context in terms of how prestigious and historical some galleries are to others in terms of what art they show and so forth. But, you know, it sounds like the one that you're doing with the amazing talent, and hopefully to bring that exhibit to other spaces and other places. Right.
Miami.
Yes. See, there you go.
I mean, it would be the perfect place, because you guys do have some amazing fine art galleries.
I was very lucky to grow up in Miami because there was such really beautiful artwork being displayed there and really good exhibits that would come into town. So I was very lucky to have that kind of exposure. But, you know, to find your work, and especially to be that bridge that you want to be and are, in my opinion, you have to find the galleries that have that history behind them. Because then when you display your work in them, that history is amplified, right? And that bridge becomes even more clear. And yeah, I think I think it's a beautiful objective. I think it's a great goal, and obviously something you just did. So it's a huge milestone as well in this approach.
Especially,
you're breaking up a little.
Oh, sorry, my friend. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, especially in 2020, because let's be honest, it's probably a hard job putting one of these things on its feet anytime, but given 2020 and given the challenges, especially, you know, Italy was one of the ones that people were talking about early, and now of course everywhere is suffering in different ways. How have you, has it helped to have this focus throughout this year of knowing that you had this exhibition coming up and obviously working on the pieces? Because surely amidst all this, especially back in February, March, April, when, you know, a lot of people were locked down, including yourselves, has it helped to have this focus and this connection through this bullshit social media, if you like, just to keep you focused and sane? And how has it helped you kind of deal with 2020?
It was tricky. I want to say it was tricky from my point of view, because, okay, let's start from the beginning. When we went into lockdown for the first time, and you guys, both in the States and UK, you haven't realized yet what we all were going towards too. And it was the same with us in Italy and China first. Until something this big, it really hits hard in the head. How harsh it was, how bad it was. So back then, at the beginning of the pandemia, I was working on this short 8-page Joker story for DC Comics, and these pages
18th anniversary Joker.
Yeah, and the pages are all painted. We will be displaying and post on our social as soon as the exhibition is over, because all these pages are now
in the parallel.
Yes,
in the parallel exhibit.
At the end of the exhibition. So when we went into lockdown, I was actually locked down. I was locked down myself already for the past 2 weeks, because I was working on those pages, and I was slightly behind on my deadline, which I finally met. But I was just, locked up in my studio, no gym, no training outside, no running outside, no nothing. So I was just, I went from a personal lockdown to the, national lockdown. And I have to be honest, I don't know about Gloria, but she knows about me because we talk every day on the phone. The first 10 days really hit me, from a psychological point of view, it was really, really hard. And to be honest with you, Ian, I was not even thinking about the exhibition, because back then in March, the exhibition in my mind was so far in the future that it was not even a thing. So what I had to do to get my mind back to work, I set up my drum set in the room next to me in my gallery, and I got back to practice and to read. I'm a very good reader when it comes down to play, and so I start to do a lot of practice 4, 5, 6 hours every day to get better on dynamics, on reading, on all the fundamentals, and that helped me a lot to put my mind back on track for my paintings. So when I got back to work, I actually did a lot of private commission. I'm talking about between April, May, and then starting from June, we both start working like full time on the exhibition, both me and Gloria, But what I wanted to say is, it was tricky because I don't know about you guys in your countries, but for us, at a certain point in the summer, a certain time, let's say midsummer, we had the feeling, end of July, we had the feeling that it was over. It was, I mean, we crossed the worst and everything got back to normal. And so that's when I was 100% full-time working on the exhibition. So I kind of work at the exhibition in a normal state of mind, both myself and the outside world of my window. But then again, as you might know, like the past 2-3 weeks, we had a huge rise. Yeah. And so I don't know, but again, to get back to your question, my answer is when I was working at the exhibition, we were actually living a moment of our life in the country. We thought everything was, it's done. We had like 150, 200 cases every single day, which was really nothing, new positive, 200 new positive, like almost zero casualty for some as in Tuscany. Everywhere was, hey, the worst is over. We can move on. We can get back to our normal, regular life, which sadly enough, it was not. And the perfect example is Luca Comics. We've been thinking about doing something and renting a space to have our own gallery, temporary gallery for the convention. But like yesterday, finally, 3 away from the convention, we're not gonna make it because we have like yesterday we had like 3,000 positives, new positive in one day. So slightly less, but that's the direction. It's too dangerous.
That's scary.
Go back it
is scary.
No, it's same thing over here too. Yeah.
The place where the exhibit takes place is Città di Castello, and that's where Raffaello Sanzio started painting. So they and we have had the feeling that they have a very, very incredibly strong attachment to Raphael art. And this
not the Ninja Turtle, no, the real one.
Okay, sorry, I was confused. Got it.
This year, 2020, was the 500th anniversary from his death. So a lot of events were planned and most of them were cancelled. So until April, we started talking about the exhibiting last December, January. But then we kept on, but with knowing if it would be cancelled or not. And actually out of 100 things, 90 were cancelled. But and on the 4th of May, we got this call. The exhibit is confirmed because of the palazzo size, the room's size, and because it was possible to make a path, so an entrance and an exit.
So just one direction.
So it's not allowed to go to the exhibit and go back to see one painting. Just to give you an idea.
If you want to see the exhibit twice or 3 times, as a lot of people did, especially the opening day, you had to finish your round trip of the exhibition, exit the exhibition, re-enter in the exhibition, of course, with the same ticket price. You can, but again, you have to walk in just one direction to avoid, crossing other people walking.
I'm with you.
So yes, at first it was definite. Then we didn't know what would happen, like everybody for everything. And then it became a certainty. We will do the exhibit. So starting from the end, from May, June, then it was it, and all the efforts went in that direction. Yeah,
it's very interesting. One thing we've noticed in the group, and this is actually the same across the entire trading card hobby, including the sports side, is that there's been it seems to be that because of lockdown, and I think because people have been seeking, have got more time to do other stuff, certainly in the early part of the year, there seem to be a lot more people who've come into the hobby. Like I said, in America, the sports side is selling out. Prices are going through the roof. People are basically soaking it up. And I think the same is true with the Marvel sets that are coming out. And obviously, we've just had.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that the reception to the new Masterpieces set from Dave Palumbo has been. It's really interesting because of him as a choice of artist. There is a new audience of people who know his Magic the Gathering work, and so they are coming in. They are coming in, and they're diving all over his work with Masterpieces 2020, and there isn't enough to go around because there's existing Marvel fans who got into the set with your work and got into the set with Joe Jusko's work, and now it's kind of a triple. Double down on that in that you've got all these Magic guys coming in. But the interesting thing is,
I will ask Upper Deck to let me paint Marvel Masterpiece 2022.
Well,
absolutely. Now's the time.
I think I have a feeling that whoever's painting that is already actually at work on it, but maybe 2024 would be a good one to get onto.
I think what's really cool too is that, you know, like the Jusko set brought all the nostalgic original card collectors to the hobby, and then you came in and it brought all the comic book people into the hobby immediately, and then Palumbo came in, and now all the Magic the Gathering people are here.
So it's a very smart choice in terms of their choice of, and I'm dying to see whoever's next, because we know from. So we've done a few interviews with the Upper Deck people, so we know they've engaged whoever it is for 2022, and I imagine, given how long it took you to do the works, and given how long Dave has said it took him to do the works, they are probably already signed and starting that work.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's a monumental. I mean, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a big challenge. So hats off to you for doing it. But what I'm curious to see is it's kind of like the pebbles just gone into the pond and the ripples are still happening from the new release that's come out. But what I'm expecting to happen is, and we're starting to see it, is that some of those people are now saying, okay, well, I'm new to Masterpieces because of 2020. What's come before? And they're turning back, and people are still posting your work. People are still posting Jusko's work. People all the time post Julian Boris's work. They post the Hildebrandt brothers' work because it has its own space and it has its own room to breathe. So I'm interested to see those people be exposed to your work, and they may not have seen it before. And they may not have seen your style before, and that may then bring a new stream of audience to the work that you're now doing, which I'm hoping this podcast helps to kind of introduce you in, if you like, and your approach and your sensibilities to these new fans of Marvel Masterpieces. At least that's this is why I think this is such a great timing. Yeah,
makes perfect sense. Can I show you something?
Yes. Oh, always. The answer to that question is always yes.
Because you know what, we actually didn't plan this at all, right? Diciamo cosa facciamo online.
Non sappiamo ancora.
Però glielo spieghiamo.
It's just an idea. I didn't know he would say it.
No,
anticipation.
I'm so excited.
Okay. Since we decided yesterday morning that we physically won't be able to do the Lucca convention, because it's too dangerous.
Just consider that, look, for us, the time of the year, and it's been for about 15 years. So for us, not having is a huge change in the year.
Yeah. But despite this, we finally came out with a solution that we still have to define in the final terms. But we will definitely do something online during those 4 days. Maybe we will be selling our products, so sketchbooks, books, lithographs, through our website. And then we will have a raffle, as much as because we usually do the raffle live during the convention. So at the end of the week, we will do a raffle, and the first number we will be pick up. They will win an original headshot, like a nice original headshot. You just froze in a nice expression of you.
So did you.
That was nice. Yeah. So anyhow, we will try our best to duplicate what the live experience would be in person online. I mean, with all
it's not the
limitations.
Same thing, but...
Yeah, it was. So, making a long story short, we still have to make the right decision and to organize the whole thing. I will be painting, and I can tell you guys. So, I mean, we exploit your space to do some promotion. Yeah, we will do some live paintings too through that Facebook and Instagram. See, that's when the social bullshit media comes handy. Like really handy.
But at least we all will have the feeling
that we're together somehow.
That we're together.
Yeah.
There are people we've seen every end of October, really, since we were young. So,
which is a long time ago, by the way, as you can see. Anyhow, jokes aside, we will be having new. I think 90% we will be having a brand new sketchbook. What we will be having is some brand new lithographs. Hopefully, if I manage to paint, to have all the permits and everything done. So let me show you in advance, even though I post some of this on my social already. This is gonna be the first. No. Fai vedere che si mette a fuoco.
I think you've got your blur on your camera.
And I can take this off for you. So if you go into your Skype, there are 3 dots next to the heart on your iPad. If you click those 3.
Okay, you know what? No. You know what? We can send you some JPEGs, maybe.
Yes.
Hello. Perfect.
Yes, that works.
Yeah. It's easier this way. So anyhow, I'm working on these 2 new brand pieces, and one is Spider-Man swinging over Venice, but it's not regular Venice. It's like the Venezia means light blue Venice from Moe. So it's an homage. The background is homage. It's an empty water Venice, so there's no water, and all the bridge and the buildings, they are just standing on the ground with no water at all. And I mean, it looks really cool.
I can't wait. That's amazing.
And it's an homage to Moebius.
It was in front of you, but you could not see.
It was there.
And that's the other one, which is you have the blur.
I've seen that one, the one with Iron Man and Hulk. And right?
Your eyes are better than mine.
Yeah. So soon as we're done with the interview, I actually gonna jump back to work on this Avengers one, which is actually he was born as an Iron Man piece, Iron Man and Hulk piece, and then I added Captain America, Black, White, Widow, and Thor because I mean, there you go, exactly.
Wow.
Ah, levato l'effetto.
No, ci ha messo lui l'immagine dal loro gruppo, vedi?
No, è vero.
Yeah, and then you're going to add these
but the perfect. These are the 2 pieces I'm talking about. But the Spider-Man piece right here on the right side, I finished it, and now you have all this background, which is Whisper Bridge in English, if I'm correct. And it's background, which is a key part of the image. It's finished. And the other one, the Avengers, I'm about to finish it hopefully before the end of today. So again, I mean, there's no way we can do Luca comics and games in person, but we will try our best to do it, online as we did this past month, unfortunately.
Well,
yeah.
That's going to be fantastic. We're all going to be so excited for that.
I mean, I can't. I've seen. I was going to ask you actually, because Luca is obviously where you're born there. Is that right? And you grew up.
Yes.
Grew up there, so it's very much your hometown.
We were both born and raised, and now she lives like 500 meters off the walls, really close to the downtown, and I live in the countryside, which is about 6-7 miles off the walls. So
okay,
we're still here.
So one thing I was going to ask is because there seems to be a very vibrant scene of creative and comic art there. Was that always there and influenced you, or did it kind of did you create that, or did you? Tell me about that a little bit, because I always find it fascinating.
That's actually a very interesting question, but unfortunately, my answer is no. There's no this vibrant feeling at all outside of those 4 or 5 days of the convention. Of course, during those 4 or 5 days, all the giants have walked this street in Lucca. All of them, you name it. Stanley, Jack Kirby, John Romita Sr., John Romita Jr., all those amazing guys from the Japan, Go Nagai, Moebius, Kino, who passed away 2 days ago, by the way. But you name it. All of them, like Ugo Perat, Milo Manara, all the Sergio Topi, all the great Italian artists. You name any of them, and all of them, Andrea Pazienza, all of them, Dino Battaglia, all of them walk the street of Lucca. Then inside of those 4 beautiful, glorious, vibrant days, it's just, I'm the only one doing my job in this city up until there's come si chiama?
No, there's Gary Frank.
Gary Frank
who lives here.
Oh wow.
Who's a long time but Gary is not from Lucca. He's from Bristol.
Of course.
He's British, and he moved to Lucca with his wife, who is not from Lucca neither. And I'm talking about a real, come si dice, oddio in italiano, quando è del posto.
Local.
A real local scene. There's no local scene.
Right.
Because again, Gary came out from. Then we have another artist who lives really close to where I live, but he's from either Bosnia, or is Bosnian, or qual è l'altra? Oddio. But anyhow, it's from the ex-Yugoslavia. And GP used to live here, who is a great graphic novelist. Is the most famous graphic novelist right now in Italy. But he moved to Rome, so it's just me.
So it's basically 5 days. 5 days, it's the center of the world, of artistic world, of comic book world, and then on the 6th day, everything's over.
Well, once a year, everyone comes to see you, effectively, Simone.
And find and see everything.
And the funny thing about Gary Frank, who's a super close friend of me and Gloria, we're really close friends. Gary lives on one of these hills about 20 minutes drive from where I live, and we're super friends. Like, I love him, Gary, and I think Gary loves us too. But we just run one into another occasionally into the woods every now and then. Like, I met Gary 2 weeks ago because I went into the woods where my wife works on the Mondays, and I was walking out of her store, and I run into Gary and we start to chat. We live so close. We still, he's busy with his deadline. I'm busy with mine. So we see him really, really rarely, which is a shame because Gary is a great, great guy. I mean, despite being British, of course. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Now you know how I feel. Gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that, guys.
I'm kidding. But again, I mean, that was a good question. And again, unfortunately, the is pretty much dead. Our dad, he's been a painter his whole life, and I'm telling you this not only because how much I owe him, but when we were younger, back in the 70s, in the 80s, we used to have something like 10, 11 galleries, fine art galleries inside the walls. Now it's zero. There's none. There's a huge museum of contemporary art museum, which is the Luca. It's called the Luca, but we do not have any more private galleries. So just to give you an idea, it's a in the past 10 years, thank God, but it really became an extremely touristic city because people would flow down Lucca from all around the world, from all over Europe. A lot of English people, a lot of German, they bought a lot of villas and historical buildings on the hills. But again, it's all about it's all about those 4 or 5 days that week, and then we got back to Simone and Bianchi doing his work, and on that's it.
I remember Matt, who you mentioned, and I think a couple of other guys. Was it last year or the year before they were posting that they'd come over to the exhibition, and they were posting photos.
In the church, you mean the exhibition inside the church, right?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think there was one that Bill Sienkiewicz came over for recently as well, because I remember seeing photos of you all there meeting fans and collectors, which was fantastic.
But Bill was not Lucca.
Where was that?
Yeah,
Lake Como.
Ah, that's it.
Oh,
Okay.
Lake Como.
Oh, that's another funny story. I will tell you this story and then I'll get back to work. But this is funny. So that Bill Sienkiewicz picture you're talking about, that's what happened. So we do have this super fan of my work who is a very funny girl, a close friend of me and Gloria. Name is Alice, and is a, come si dice veterinario?
Vet.
Is a vet. She's a vet. Okay, so blue hair, super funny girl. So the day before Lake Como, she posted. I was just scrolling down this Facebook, usual bullshit, and I just stumble upon this Alicia's post, who was pretty much something like, "Hey, abruptly, I just realized that tomorrow I will be standing up in the same room with Simone Bianchi and Bill Sienkiewicz." Okay, and it made me laugh. It was funny. And I don't know if you guys ever met Bill. Bill is the best of the guys. I mean, he's a great guy. He's so humble and friendly. He's one of the nicest people I ever met in the comic book industry. I love Bill to death. So long story short, cut to the next day. I walked to Bill's table just to say hi, to hug, and blah, blah, blah. In the afternoon, Bill was taking a walk because Lake Como is a beautiful convention. It's a stunning location, but few people, just very few collectors from all over the world, serious collector. So Bill was able to walk, So he came over my table. We start to talk a little bit about the paints I use, what kind of paintings, what kind of pencil. Bill, as all of us, we love to talk about technical stuff.
Yeah.
And we're standing there talking one to another. And then Alicia came over, this friend of me, the vet. By chance. So that's when I realized, hey, Alicia, now you can actually say you're in the same room with me and Bill.
Absolutely
and
wonderful.
that's when we took that picture. And she was like, I say, she posted that picture with time of death and just wrote down.
Wonderful.
She was dying because of that picture. It was fun. She's great, but Bill is great too. Bill is one of the best guy I ever met. Actually, really.
Well.
That's amazing.
If we get lucky enough to talk to him, we'll get his side of that story.
Okay. It's gonna be pretty much. It's gonna be exactly the same. Yeah.
So Simone, thank you. I know you've got to get back to work. You've got those fabulous pieces to finish. Can I thank you for making the time to talk to us? I really appreciate that you've taken time out of your Sunday, and Gloria, you've come over as well. And it's just it's been a long time coming. So thank you.
No, it's my pleasure. I want to thank you and Fausto and all of you guys collecting the cards and making me feel very special and fortunate and lucky just to have the chance to work on that project. And it's been fun. And you should maybe thank more Gloria than me because I'm home. She had to come to work, if you want to call this work, from her house, leaving her poor kids alone. I'm kidding, but it's been fun, and I'm looking forward to do the very same thing next week on the Saturday or on the Saturday, and I want trying to give you a glimpse of what the exhibition is. And again, guys, we will try our best again to give you an experience, but it will never be like being there in person.
Of course.
But I promise you both, sooner or later, we'll be having something like this, both in UK and in the States too. And really, Fausto, Miami would be a spectacular location.
I'll be there.
So if you know any galleries owners, just talk to him, show them my work. We would love to do that.
Hey,
absolutely.
If things are moving again, I'll buy a plane ticket for that.
Ian will come down.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Gloria. I just want to say thank you so much, Gloria. You are a godsend. You have been amazing to us. We love you so much. Simone, you are a god. Thank you so much. We love you both. Thank you so much for everything.
Don't forget, and this is the point. How do we end our episode, Simone? You remember this?
Sure.
Better
Keep collecting.
That'll do. Close enough.
Yeah. Perfect. I love it.
Thank you.
Collecting. Simone Cyborg. Ciao.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
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 Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Visuals and tasting notes for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. You can subscribe and leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you get your podcasts. Our podcast can be found by Googling @the MCC Pod, which will also find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Our Facebook community is at MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.